The annual Inclusive Finance India Summit, organized by Access and Access Assist, is a global platform that seeks to build consensus towards a unified vision and strategy to achieve universal financial inclusion in India.
The Inclusive Finance Summit is an event the entire microfinance industry eagerly waits for every year.
The summit attracts stakeholders from across the global financial inclusion spectrum and provides them a unique opportunity to deliberate and debate the key challenges and opportunities that lie in the Indian financial inclusion space.
If I was going to spend 1 or 2 days only in India every year, I think there would be no better single place to come to see the full gamut, the different things happening in access to finance in India.
In the past, the summit has attracted eminent speakers. The 2016 summit was no different, attracting unprecedented participation from diverse stakeholders and voices that make a difference.
Anybody who wants to know what is happening in the Indian microfinance sector, attending the summit is a must.
The Inclusive Finance Summit, we consider it to be the Kumbh Mela of inclusive finance sector. The interest of the participants in the summit keeps on increasing, and I have been associated with the summit since I started attending it in 2005. It is the annual feature, and with every year it has grown by leaps and bounds.
Rural areas, uncovered areas, while we are focusing on institution-related infrastructure, we should also never forget that physical infrastructure will also play a role. And I'm happy to share that NABARD has been involved with it.
I'm sure that during these 2 days of deliberations, lot of issues will be raised, will be discussed. What more can be done will be discussed. But as an important player in the Indian economy, being the largest player, we are fully aware that what are the responsibilities on the State Bank of India and the banking system as a whole. It has responded well.
The organizers need to be congratulated in having developed it into such a major event, which proves to be extremely valuable to all the participants in this field.
Attending this conference has been an incredibly valuable experience. Coming from Canada, researching on this topic, I feel very lucky that I've been able to come meet all these interesting people and hear their expert intake on the different topics discussed here.
Is it going to be possible for this generation of banks to be able to make tiny savings accounts remunerative?
While critical initiatives of the government and the regulators form an important part of the summit discussions, also included are efforts and initiatives by other key stakeholders, helping track the composite progress on financial inclusion in the country.
The Aadhaar as a billion-plus biometric thing is a magnificent kind of infrastructure that we have, and we are only starting to see the beginning of that. And interestingly, we have coupled that now with the mobile, which is also now almost covering the entire country, and they're all linked now. They're also linked to bank accounts. So it's a very powerful combination.
After the health insurance had been rolled out, we look at the data after 4 or 5 years. Now, first lesson, the claims to coverage ratio is very low. Now, obviously, this segment of the population is not a lot healthier than you and me. So there's no reason to believe that claims to coverage should be low for microfinance clients.
It's also a good forum for peer learning, from other players, what they are doing, how they are doing in different geographies.
One of the main attractions of the summit every year is the release of the annual State of the Sector report, which provides an insightful analysis and an honest critique of the financial inclusion progress during the course of the year.
This year's report, like the last year, has been authored by Senior Sector Expert and Researcher, Professor M.S. Sriram.
There was the concern that with Jan Dhan Yojana's accounts getting opened, will the SHGs break down and will all these women directly go and become customers of the bank, the SAG program seems to be continuing in its full steam.
Now I'd like to invite Dr. Alok Mishra to present the highlights from the Responsible Finance India Report 2016.
Responsible finance is all about, outreach is not important, how you do that outreach is also important.
Extremely important contribution of this conference is the publications it brings to the table, especially the annual report on microfinance, which is a landmark report and one of the most widely read report in the world on microfinance.
The 2016 summit was coincidentally held soon after the demonetization decision by the Government of India. And given its direct impact on financial inclusion, it provided for an important backdrop for discussions.
The Inclusive Finance India Summit this year is interestingly juxtaposed with the commotion caused by the bold announcement of the government on demonetization of 500 and 1000 rupee notes.
As far as this conference is concerned, I was pretty apprehensive initially because of this whole demonetization and all our preoccupation with demonetization which is going on in terms of what would be the attendance in this conference. But Vipin tells me that they have had a record registration and I am very excited to participate in this conference.
An important and informative plenary on day one discussed the challenges being faced by the newly licensed small finance banks in wake of the government's demonetization move. The session on the role of microfinance on quality of life products discussed the need for specialized financing to improve quality of life through water, sanitation, energy for lighting and cooking products.
एक्सेस असिस्ट का वर्कशॉप काफ़ी नॉलेज का होता है। इस बार तो काफ़ी नए डेवलपमेंट हो रहे हैं, तो डिजिटलाइजेशन में क्या क्या नई हैपनिंग हो रही है वो काफ़ी जानने को मिला है।
Since yesterday we have been listening to the demonetization. Every panel had to talk about the D program, you know. And today we are talking about the other D revolution. This is digitization.
The reality is with a 5% PC penetration, you can only get more innovation, more competition, better solutions for the consumer, be it from the wallets today, or is it from the banks, or is it from the payment banks.
One of the major draws at the 2016 summit were the 8th edition of the Inclusive Finance India Awards, recognizing the key achievers over the year gone by.
It's hard to believe that another year has flown by, and what a momentous year it's been. This is my first occasion. It's a great pleasure to be here amongst you at your event. Your annual event this year.
This year's conference has covered such a phenomenal range of subjects that it is simply mind-boggling. Moving from the field of microfinance to inclusive finance to SME financing to the digital era and demonetization, payment banks, small finance banks, you name it. I think every subject affecting the poor and the excluded has been covered in the conference. All in all, a tremendous effort, and all my best wishes for the future of this conference.
The summit received widespread media coverage.
Everybody is expecting that there will be a rate cut, so the people would be surprised if it is not there. How much? Let us see, but anything between 25 to 50 basis points is a possibility.
And after 2 days of engrossing debates and discussions, came to a close on a note of cautious optimism. The delegates expressed hope that these rapidly evolving times would lead to better days for all, and that the annual Access Financial Inclusion Summit would continue to be the leading platform for consensus building towards universal financial inclusion in India. The organizing team at Access engages in meticulous session planning to keep the discussions topical and engaging, and invites subject matter experts to ensure that the summit scores very high on the knowledge quotient.
In terms of how we design the whole 2 days of sessions is a process which is very consultative with a group of advisors of constituting around 13 to 14 sector experts and representatives from various stakeholders that come together on a quarterly basis to advise us, and based on their inputs we are able to put together a very good set of sessions.
I'd like to congratulate the Access team for another fantastic Inclusive Finance India conference. This continues to be the premier financial inclusion conference in India, and I'm so excited to be part of it. Range of topics covered in this conference are very timely, and I found this incredibly useful both for my own personal work as well as to learn a lot more about what's going on. So thank you again, Vipin and the rest of the Access team. Another job, another year, fantastic.
In some manner, we're not like a righteous organization, but we do see how through our efforts in a small way we can influence and inform policy. In a small way, how can we support policy? And that, I think, is the idea behind the Inclusive Finance India initiative of Access.